Welcome to the Art Lady channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make these very easy painted rocks. These are some of my examples my students have done, and I'm going to show you a close-up version here. We start out with a center dot here, and then we just continue in like concentric rings around to create this really cool dot design. It kind of reminds me of Aboriginal paintings with their dot decorations, but we're just doing them on simple rocks, and actually our town hides rocks. I don't know how many towns do this across the country or world, but we write little messages on the back and then they contact us or they post it on Twitter. It's a Twitter thing. But anyways, I'm going to teach you how to do this very simple rock design. And actually when you see them outside in public, they really look amazing because it's a bright pop of color, but very simple to do, and the kids enjoyed painting these, and as you can see, they're very successful. I love this one in these tones of greens and yellows, in yellow greens, all these cool values. So if you want to pick a color, you can do it monochromatic, all one color, or a color family, or you can do warm colors, cool colors. I kind of like the rocks that are done like that more so than just random rainbow colors. But it's up to you what you want to do. Here's more of just something of every color. But it's up to you what color families you want to do. But let me go ahead and show you how we get started. The tools that I'm using are, we're using Q-tips, but these are very compressed Q-tips. And if you want to make these yourself at home, you can take a Q-tip and then you can take some acrylic paint, and then I just kind of rub the acrylic paint over the Q-tip like this and let it harden. That way your Q-tip isn't so fluffy and it's not going to start coming apart as you're working up your paint. It gives it a nice coating on the outside so you can dab it in to the paint and it works nice. We're also going to be using the other end of the Q-tip, and actually these are wooden sticks which make a nice dot here. And then you can even use the back ends of paintbrushes too. This gives it a little bit larger dot. So that's basically what we're going to be doing. So I start off with my center dot, and you can use rounded rocks. This is just the last one I had here, this oval rock that was left. But rounded rocks kind of make it look a nicer design. Although here's the oval one here, and that's okay too. But it's up to you, but I prefer the round. And then start off in your center dot, and then just very carefully place. I'm going to go around the center dot with, I'll start with the yellow family here. I'm going to do mine more in the warm colors. And then using a very small dot, just carefully place your dots. Now you're going to have to go into your paint quite frequently and take your time making each dot. That's with craftsmanship, because if you just rush, I'm going to show you some examples of some rushed ones, but if you just rush, you're not going to get that perfect little dot. And again, you've got to keep on dipping in. So I'm going to go around this completely. Let me show you what happens when it's not a perfectly formed dot. It kind of messes up your craftsmanship here. See that? Right in here, where you're not taking your time. This kid started off taking their time and doing it very neatly, you see? But then sometimes you want to rush and go fast, and so then that's what happens here. Okay? But continue to take your time. If you have to take a break or stop, go ahead. But you want it to be neatly done all around. And kids of all ages can do this just by taking their time. I'm going to do, oops, I went into the wrong color. Next, I'm going to do it a little bit bigger. So I start off with some really tiny dots coming around. And then I'm going to mix in some red with yellow in my little cup, because I want to create this yellow-orange color. And so I'm pulling it out. I wonder, yeah, you can see how I'm mixing. And I'm just stirring it. And then I'm going to wipe off my stick here with paper towel so I get a nice clean tiny dot. And so now I'm doing a yellow-orange dot the next row. And I'm going to continue, if I want it to be all my warm colors, I'm just going to continue adding a little bit more red to this yellow-orange I've just made each time I go around. So I'm going to give it a dot, and then I kind of draw a little circle. See how I'm kind of moving it? That gives it a little bit bigger dot. And I continue around, trying to place them equally, spacing them equally apart. And you can see how it's slowly getting a little bit bigger. I'll squeeze one in here. Let me get more paint there. You see, you can only do about 2 good dots. Now I'm going to adjust anything that I need. That's called assessment. You assess what you've done so far. If you need to fix it or improve it, you do, and then you move on. Now I'm going to take, here's the color that I had before, this yellow-orange. I'm going to take one more dot of red, and I'm going to mix that in with my yellow-orange to make it a little bit darker value yellow-orange. And see how one dot changed that yellow-orange color. One dot of red. I'm going to wipe off my stick to make it nice and clean. And now I'm going to continue using this paint here that I've just made, the new yellow-orange color. I'm going to leave a space. I want these to be slightly bigger. And I go around. Now I'm leaving a little bit of a space. I'm not really crowding it because I want to be able to put some white dots in between. And you're building up slowly, getting slightly bigger. Now when it gets, this will be the last row I do with this end of the stick. Now the sticks are very flat, it's a flat end. You could even use a toothpick for the top here, real tiny dots. That'll give you a nice wood point. And then my circles are getting a bit too big for this tip now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start using this end of the toothpick. And I'm going to make my color a little bit darker now. Adding a little bit more red. Oops, I don't want to get too much. I hit that green. And now I'm going to be using the Q-tip. And that gives me a little bit bigger circle. That wasn't quite enough contrast from the last color, so I'm going to adjust it. And that's what artists do. When they instantly see something, you want to stop that if it's not right. I wouldn't want to continue if I didn't like that color. So as you see things that are not quite right, that you have the power to not do it and to go ahead and fix it. It's easier to fix one dot than to fix a lot of them. And so instantly I noticed that that wasn't quite right. Now I'm going to skip. There, I can see now it's a little bit more contrast from the last orange. And you can see the Q-tip gives a nice little dot. And it's slightly bigger than the first orange, or the last dot. And you can try other things that you find around the house too that would make nice, oops, I'm going to tap that. See, I didn't like that dot there. That give you nice circles. Even maybe pencils, the end of a pencil the rubber end of a pencil eraser. You know, the eraser on the end of the pencil. And that's if you haven't used it yet. It's nice and straight. So it'll make it a circle. That'll work too as a dauber. And that'll give it a bigger shape than what I'm using right now. But you can go look around and you'll find different little things that have, as long as it's flat and circular. And this will be my last row, and then I'll start adding some white detail. Now you can even double layer these colors, which is kind of fun too. Here's the last one. Now to add, look at that spiral, that's cool. Now you can even double layer these, and what I mean by double layers, I can go back into some bright yellow. I'd let this dry a little bit more even, and look at that. See how I'm putting that dot right in the center? A dot inside a dot. That's fun to do. Going around the whole thing. It's just how much time do you want to spend on it? And you can just play this up with all these fun dots. And what's cool is you can even draw dots around these dots. I'll show you in white. I kind of like the white drawn, a dot around a dot. See how this one's finished off? The last one is little dots around each one here. These designs almost remind me of the way it radiates out from the center. Even a sea urchin, if you've ever seen a sea urchin shell, it has all these little ridged dots. They're quite beautiful. So let me show you how to do some of the white dots. I'm dipping into my white, and then I'm very carefully placing the dots. I only can get about 3 or 4 good ones. I'll touch up those around the circle, and then coming down here. And what the white does is I feel it gives more unity to everything. It kind of ties everything together. Look how cute that is. And I don't mind so much that it's the oval here. And then, I mean, you can even do some more white on top here, put some more design in here. I'll finish this off, and then you get the idea about doing the white. But I want you to be able to see the completed one. And anytime you make a mistake that you really don't like, or you've smudged a huge area, you can always go back to your black paint. And the paint that I used is black acrylic. This was just inexpensive craft paint that you can buy, acrylic craft paint, that you can buy at any big store. You know, a Walmart. You can probably buy these at Hobby Lobby, you know, any Hobby Lobby or craft store. They come in kits, and they're just small paint. If you want to use, you know, other acrylic paints, that's fine too. And if you really want to get technical, you can get exterior grade. If you're going to be making these for outside in your garden at home, and you want to keep them permanent, because this eventually will crack off or fade. The less expensive paints that you have, the more fading, and then the less durability. It'll just fade away. So I would use, if I'm going to keep this in my garden as a permanent stone, I would use better quality paint, and then even exterior grade paint. And then I would do a exterior spray, clear lacquer spray or clear spray on top if you're going to keep it as a permanent addition to your garden outside. But these are made for just fun giveaway rocks. It's like a hide and seek find game that they play in our little town. and then they post them on Twitter. But there is, let me move, let's see if I've got a white paper to show you what it looks like. There is the completed rock so far. And I think I'd like some more white in here too, but you kind of get the idea of how to do your designs. And I'll show you this one, how it had. This is kind of fun too, where they come down. If you have more room on the edges, you can just do some white coming down here. And I hope you have fun creating your painted rocks.